So what I want to look at for this component is again to compare the graphs of an exponential function versus a linear function. So linear function is what we're used to. We've been graphing lines now since the beginning of the semester. So really, for you look at these two, right? This is the graph of a straight line, right? A straight line. And so it's very important that we understand this line is not changing directions. It's got that constant rate of change, right? It's rising, right? It rises from left to right, okay? So a straight line, a linear function, has to stay straight. Every single line from a linear function goes straight. Same again, this is the graph of a straight line, right? It has to be straight because it's a constant rate of change. But this one falls. This one falls from left to right. So whether you're rising or falling, your rate of change is the same. Your rate of change is the same. So the difference here, and these are kind of backwards if you ask me. So I would kind of think of the decreasing one be connected with this guy, even though they're different, and then this one to be connected with him. But the way I think about this is we basically consider the fact that in this first function right here, look how it starts out really, really high. Starts out really, really high up here, and then it starts falling, and then it starts to flatten out, right? Starts to flatten out. So this is the graph of an exponential decay. Because we started out really, really high, and then we went flat, that's what we call exponential decay. So it, again, also falls from left to right in this case. We're falling from left to right. But I want you to put in parentheses here the word flat, because it's going from a really, really high place to a flat place. You're going completely flat at the end. Versus our second graph here, this is exponential growth, because we're starting out very, very flat, and then all of a sudden it starts to increase very, very quickly. And so we're exploding from left to right. So this rises from left to right. But I want you to think of this as the word explodes. This explodes. Notice we started out very, very small, and then all of a sudden explodes, right? So we think of this typically when we think of like an infection. In an infection, when you get an infection, you always have a little bit of bacteria in your body. But what an infection is that bacteria gets out of control. It literally explodes in growth, and you go from having very, very little bacteria in your body down here at the bottom, very, very little, to all of a sudden you have an infection because your number of bacteria is exploding. All right, so these are the fundamental differences between an exponential function and a linear function. To be able to tell the difference between them is a key component of what we're trying to learn in Math 1. So I hope that seeing them side by side accomplishes that, and that we're able to see when one is linear and when one is exponential. Very, very fundamental to our learning. Keep up the good work.